Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations, and check these out. This is a kind of trade I took in, and man, I'm going to go from coolest to least coolest, but love messing with anything that has a motor on it. Never when I was young did I get to ride a mini bike, a go-kart, or an ATV. We grew up kind of poor. I did have a moped, a 50cc moped, a Peugeot 103. Here's a picture of it right here. But I always wanted, all my friends, you know, they'd have this or they'd have this. We predated the era of ATVs, so the closest I came to it is when I built the Mutt. And it's just parked out here, but I guess I'll show that too. But let's take a look at it. If you've never seen the Mutt, I'll show that. This first bike is a Manco Thunderbird. This thing is awesome, and it is very rare apparently to find these things in any condition. This one is in complete condition except for the engine is toast and it's missing the chain. But I have an engine I bought. I'm deciding. I bought a couple of engines off of Amazon. There was a Chinese 3.5 horsepower diesel engine, no kidding. And I'm thinking about trying to put it on here. I also got, it's so funny, a Predator engine from Harbor Freight. They're on sale usually about $159. Well, on Amazon there is a Chinese knockoff of a Predator, which itself is a knockoff of a Honda I think it's a GVC 160, GC 160. Anyway, too much information, but I have one of those too. I picked up for $90 brand new in the box with shipping. The catch is, you see the clutch right there? That clutch is made for 3/4 inch shafts or smaller. The Chinese, both the diesel and the gas engines that I have, which are both clones of a Honda engine, they have 20 millimeter shafts, so metric size shaft. So I'll have to machine it down, or I have a way. I'm going to show you all how I'm going to pull that off. But one of those two engines will end up on this, and it's awesome because it's got suspension, front and rear suspension on a mini bike, and it's just so cool looking. So I've also got a company called Vavor, and they're going to be working with me. We're going to put a variator on it as well, so this thing will have a whole lot of pull and probably a whole lot of danger. And I'll throw a headlight on there and such. But that's one project you can look forward to as winter goes on. It is the Manco Thunderbird, and it just sounds awesome. Just sounds awesome. And then we move on to the middle awesome. I was able to wedge myself into this thing, so I know that I can sort of fit. This is technically a two-seater. That's right, it is a two-seater. You can see the pedals here and here, and I guess room for somebody else there. When it comes to adults, I'm going to say one person fitting very, very, very snugly will fit into this. But this might be getting the diesel engine if I decide not to put it onto the little mini bike. Either way, this is going to be a cool project. We'll sand it down, we'll paint it up, and I'll be putting on some new tires in the rear here and get a motor and a bracket for that. The fronts, yeah, probably replace those tires. They look pretty old. But the steering system was actually in really good shape. And the biggest comical moment, I hope you can see that. There it is, Mercedes-Benz. That's a Mercedes-Benz go-kart, one of a kind apparently. Now, but I couldn't find any information on what this is. There's a little bit of decals there and somewhat of a sticker, but nothing that was usable to identify it. So if anyone knows what manufacturer of go-kart this was, I sure would love to know. Be easier to order parts for it at that point. And then lastly, and I had high hopes when I saw it but I got it home. It was pouring rain, and so I had some high hopes for it, but nah, it's not doing too good. This is a Polaris Sportsman 90cc two-stroke. It's also sold as an E-Ton, and they're no longer made. I was hoping it was just a Chinese 110 or 125 because you can get so many bits and pieces for it. But this one, as you can see, missing some covers, missing some ignition components. A lot of stuff up here just broken. And just rough. So this is going to end up being parts, but it does have some nice tires up front, and these rears are almost new. They're in great shape. I'll put inner tubes in there, but they got plenty of tread. Probably going to keep the rear axle for other projects. So there's a lot of usable parts. It's just a shame because I've always wanted a genuine ATV, but I guess this wasn't the one. And it's got, you know, significant body damage. And just looking on the internet briefly, I mean, you just can't get parts for these things. You can rebuild the engine, but you start adding all the stuff up that it needs to make it back to one piece, and it's just not worth it, unfortunately. So that was a real shame, but it is a good little parts ATV, and technically you're looking at the first ATV that I've ever owned, and I'm nearly 50 years old. So, and then I guess lastly, since no one's seen it on this channel, this is my Mutt 2, multi-use tactical tractor 2. And this is it was a Murray wide body, and I converted it over for tractor duty, yard duty. So you can see I built a dump bed here on the back. That flips up if you want to, but it's actually been really useful. It has a sleeve hitch underneath that I modified to work with this frame, so I can still use it for tractoring. Put some really aggressive tires on it and did a pulley swap on this so that it would go faster. Not crazy fast. I didn't want it to be 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. I wanted it to be something where I could get up and down the driveway a little quicker than 2 miles an hour. So it does a top speed about 12 to 14 depending on its mood and in the rain. So sometimes when it's raining it'll slip a little bit, so 12 in the rain and 14 or 15 max. But I love the Mutt. There's a lot of videos on it on the main channel, and it even has a CB antenna. For those of you who are following me from the other channel, it has a built-in Radio Shack sports CB radio, so it's pretty cool. And that's what the white antenna is there. And that is what I usually use. The problem is, as I get older, there's no suspension on these things, and it gets a little tough when you're trying to do fun stuff, not just work stuff, but fun stuff too. You're going too fast and hit a bump, it just really beats you up at this age. And so I was kind of like excited that here's one with suspension, but apparently it wasn't meant to be. Now this thing here, I will fix up, clean up, paint up, and of course I'll take you along for the ride, but I'll maybe drive it once just to make sure it's okay. But a go-kart at my age is a really bad idea on the back. However, the Thunderbird has suspension, and I just love the look of this little booger. It just seems like a cool bike, the Manco. And apparently this was the last mini bike made in America, so that in itself is kind of a cool thing to see and to know. And I look forward to fixing that one up. That one's probably going to be my priority just so I can play with it. Anyway, I guess that'll do it, but I definitely wanted to show you these really, really cool bikes and go-karts and ATVs that I picked up. New content for the new channel. I hope you'll stick around, and I'll see you next time, my friends. Take care.